It's season 2. Are you ready for more Blood Bowl?
Spiky bits.
What's up, Hobby Maniacs? Rob Baer with you again today, taking a look at the new season. Death Zone Part 2, or Season 2 is here for Blood Bowl, and it contains all sorts of new rules, updated rules, legendary team rules, all sorts of dope things for the edition of game, the re-release, the 8th edition of Blood Bowl, so to speak. This is the other 8th edition that came out this year, and of course, we will see some Warhammer 8th edition, but we're not there yet. But we will then be now. Well, we've got Blood Bowl at least right now, right? So this is a 80-page book, new supplement, $32 retail from Games Workshop, dropped this weekend here in May. And it comes with a lot of things. Now, first off, I want to point out some stuff to y'all. So it looks like these books were printed in China, which is a little bit of a departure. I'm sure we see that sometimes, but you know, maybe Games Workshop is utilizing a lot of different resources in a lot of different ways, which, hey, they're a business and it's definitely their prerogative to do so. But it's really interesting because just the logistics of having something printed in China and floated over, stocked in the UK, and then sent over to America kind of gives you an idea of they're really working with a kind of far out release schedule in mind. So who knows when they originally developed this stuff right here. Just something I wanted to point out. Now it does say it's copyrighted 2017, which is interesting because, you know, it is about the middle of the year so far. So I'm not sure. I'm not a logistical expert, so I can't tell you how much of a turnaround they're doing on this stuff or even hint at what else might be in the pipe for Blood Bowl itself, but that's just an interesting thing I wanted to point out because theoretically if there's more stuff coming out for this fall, they might already be working on it right now, which is kind of, you know, cool to think about in that regard. Now, the contents of the book, like I said, it's about an 80-page rule supplement. They got a whole ton of new star players. I think the official count was 12, according to the Games Workshop official description of the book here. So 12 star players, which you can see right here. There's some new optional rules, which I was reading through them and they're really interesting. Like there's stuff like, you know, sponsorship deals, stadiums, you know, but they definitely say right off the bat that they're a little bit more edgy or a little bit more complicated than the normal stuff you see in your leagues. So you might want to be wary about using them fresh in a new league, but you can definitely take it up a notch in existing leagues if you're looking for something to, you know, kind of, you know, keep players more entertained, I suppose. New rules, straight up new rules. There's the new teams, which are the ones that we've seen right now. We've got Goblin teams, so Chaos Renegades and Underworld Denizens team. So I'm almost wondering if those are going to be future releases, kind of my introductory spiel into where we're at right now to this video here. So I'm kind of wondering, I know people have been clamoring for Chaos because they do the dirty work on the field. They're a little bit dirtier than Skaven, right? And Underworld Denizens, I mean, I suppose there's a couple different ways you could go with that. Like maybe they will be on the way, maybe they will not, because we know that there's been some made to order stuff that I guess technically you can kind of use in place of that if you really wanted to, but that's kind of the case for any of this stuff, right? But it's really interesting that they're like new teams, and one of them we've seen miniatures for. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind as we go through all this. Now, skills update. They've updated some of the skills from the first Death Zone Series 1 book, which we reviewed here, and clarified a couple of things and put in new stuff for the new 12 players right here. And of course, you got the Hall of Fame. These are some really interesting squads, like fluff-wise, and official reference guides. I forget which section that was. Oh, that's the summary. So that's the summary of all the current teams that have rules with their gold payouts and things like that. So these are the Hall of Fame teams that you can actually play in the game. They give you rules for playing with them. Now, I'm not exactly sure. I think they did have gold points for them, but we'll take a look at that here in a second. So I'm not sure if that's something that's widely acceptable for play. But from what I know about most Blood Bowl players and most Blood Bowl leagues, that it's always kind of what you can get away with, not really about asking permission, right? So here's a preview of one of the new star players in here, Baer Fireblast. You can see here his star player profile with, you know, exciting career highlights on his football rookie card right here. And then here's his name. Of course, he has his skills, which they don't get into right here. They are updated later in the book. Teams, cost, his movement, his strength, agility, his armor value, and all of that stuff right there. Obviously, he's a stunty. He does what stunties do. But there's a whole bunch of stuff in here. You got this big fat rat. Then you've got the Verminator, Heart Ripper, which is kind of interesting. You know, you've got some dark elves coming to the fore. The Swift Twins, some little haughty high elves right there, of course. Another high elf, and then you got your wannabe Groot. He is not Groot. This is Willow Rosebark. Dun dun dun. And Carla Von Kill. I imagine she is, well, I imagine there's something sinister to her. Helmet Wolf. Ripper Bolgrot. Scrappa Sorehead. So lots and lots of things in here. And then we kick it over to the new rules. Well, hold on. Let's go to new optional rules. That's the stuff where you can get sponsorship deals if you're down on gold. All sorts of exciting things. Stadium rules. Lots and lots of different things in here. I haven't read through it all, but it looks pretty neat. Famous referees. There you go. We've seen some of those guys. A little halfling with a sub, or a hero, depending on what part of the country you're in, here in America. New rules, infamous coaching staff, and a few more crazy cheerleaders and things that we've seen miniatures for in the past. Papa Skullbones, Crot Shock Whisker, Skaven Engineer, so lots of cool stuff here. And then here's the teams. Like I said, there's a new team section. There's your goblins, which were already a release right here, which we already reviewed on the channel. Then you've got Team Profile Chaos All-Stars, and of course, well, there's no picture of them, except for a little rat right there with the football, so that makes it easy. They didn't spoil anything. And the Underworld Denizens team right here as well, which looks to be Skaven, Troll, and Goblins, but I would think these were like that. Well, you can see the rules right there. We're not going to really get into it, but there they are. And then the skills update, and that's what I was talking about. They've added some of the skills to the charts here, and anything that's new for the star players is explained in here as well. We're not going to get super into it because, to be quite honest, I don't know as much as I should about Blood Bowl. I've played a few games here recently, but also played a few games in the past. So I'm not an expert, and I don't want to misspeak, but obviously if you do play Blood Bowl and you're running a league right now, this is probably something you want to pick up as it supersedes some of the rules and clarifies some things that I've already noticed in here, and Games Workshop definitely hints at that it is an up-to-date summary as far as the reference section back here with all of the new players and such that has come out over the releases since this winter, right? And then a couple more sections I wanted to show you. You've got the Hall of Fame. Now this is the squads, and I guess theoretically you could play them because they're already preset in stone, it looks like. So you've got all of your team here, your fan factors, your rerolls already built into the total cost of the team, and then they have some special rules here too, like the Warfire Wanderers, which are addicted, air quotes, to Warpstone. How about that? Some Skaven addicted to Warpstone. Say it isn't so. And then you've got a few of those teams in here as well that you could play it all ready to go, kind of take the fuss and the muss out of creating your very own team. And then it gets into the official reference guide, which is the up-to-date section for all of these teams in Blood Bowl up to this date right here. So it's kind of like a mini little general's handbook, and they've already put 2 of these out for Blood Bowl right here. And then it gets back to the star player summary, which are the 12 new ones that it included, along with existing ones which are already out there, like of course Morgan Thorg, and let's see, any other people that are we definitely already recognize. Mighty Zug was in, well, has been a thing for a very long time. Griff. Yep, so lots and lots of cool content in here. If you are an existing Blood Bowl player, you have Series 1, you're definitely going to want to pick this up for Series 2. If you're a commish of your own league, I imagine you definitely want to pick this one up as well, because a lot of cool, exciting new content definitely in these pages. And according to Games Workshop, let's see, let's run down the official description for Games Workshop as far as the well-known referees and coaching staff. We talked about that already. History and team rosters for 6 new Hall of Fame entries. That was the Warfire Wanderers, the Green Boys, the Grudge Bearers, the Celestial Comets, and the Chaos All-Stars, as well as the Underworld Creepers. The official reference guide that we just talked about, and new optional rules, lots and lots of crazy stuff in there, and the 12 new star players. So yeah, I think we pretty much covered everything in that review that also Games Workshop put in their little descriptor for this book. It's $32, new release this week, along with the Blood Bowl Goblins and the Blood Bowl Goblin 4-pack, which contains the same exact sprue that you get 2 of in here. So I feel like at $15 and $35, probably better off buying 2 of these if you definitely need that many gobos in your life there. Now, if you like our video features here on the channel, make sure you hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you can be one of the first to watch and comment on all of our weekly features. If you love receiving miniatures in the mail to your door monthly, check us out over on patreon.com/spikybits to find out more about supporting us and getting your monthly miniature swag on. And head on over to thelongwar.net. That's the home of the battle reports for exclusive content, early access videos, and more. Become a veteran of the Long War today.